Hi everyone, Antoinette here. Do you ever feel like you are being overlooked or ignored at work? Well, today I'm going to give you 5 ways that you can get noticed at work in a positive way. One way to get noticed at work is by being visible, meaning if you are in an in-person situation, don't just stay in your cubicle or your office all the time. You're probably thinking, well, that's where my work is, so that's where I need to get stuff done. And yes, that is true. You don't want to be this person that is always walking the halls, always starting up conversations and just hanging out and not getting things done. However, if you're not getting out of your office, if you're not visible, then you are going to be overlooked and ignored. It's one of those situations that it's out of sight, out of mind. When people don't see you very often, then it's likely you're going to be overlooked. If you work in a place where, like a lot of places, there's a lot of virtual meetings going on, be sure and turn on your camera. When you have your camera off and other people have their camera on, it's going to be so much harder for people to remember to include you because you're just a square with a name rather than a face looking back at them. So be sure, turn on your camera, be active in virtual meetings as well. Especially if you work remotely and you're not in a physical office, it is extra important for you to be visible in those virtual meetings. And it's not just a matter of getting out of your office or showing up on virtual meetings with your camera on, but it's a matter of if they need volunteers to help with a certain project or maybe a social that they're trying to plan, for you to get involved in that as well. That is going to increase your visibility. It's going to show that you're not just concerned with just your job and everything that you have to do, but that you actually care about the workplace outside of your daily work. Next, even if you're introverted, even if you're quiet, start making it a practice to speak up during meetings. If you're the type of person who seldom speaks, if ever, in a meeting, unless you're called on, think about the fact that even if you're in the meeting, so you're visible, even if you're on camera, in a virtual meeting, but you're not ever saying anything, you can be overlooked and ignored. So you'll be more visible, so people will notice you more if you start speaking up in meetings. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to derail the conversation or take over the meeting, but simply asking for clarity on something or recapping what someone has said that the plan is, anything that contributes to the meeting will help you to get noticed. Next, whenever there's a problem and you need to bring it to your boss or somebody that you report to not only bring them the problem, but bring them some possible solutions. Rather than saying, here's the problem, I need you to solve this, to be of the mindset of, here's a problem and I've come up with some possible solutions. John Maxwell talks about being solution oriented and bringing 3 possible solutions and your recommendation for the best solution. He describes this as the difference between pouring gasoline on a fire, meaning making it worse. Here's the problem. Now I'm bringing it to you, versus pouring water on the fire, saying, here's a problem, and I came up with some possible solutions. It shows that you are thinking like a leader. It shows that you're being proactive. It shows that you're not just sitting there in the problem wanting somebody else to solve it for you. Another way that you can get noticed at work is when you make it a point to communicate and interact with other people across teams, people who you wouldn't ordinarily interact with. Maybe it's a matter of you getting to work early and walking over to another area just to get to know some of the people in that department. Or whenever there's a big meeting or a big event and there's people outside of your group that you work with, for you to actually take the initiative and go meet some of those other people and start establishing some connections with people outside of just your team. When you do that, you actually gain influence in the workplace because people outside of just your team start to know who you are. And you'll certainly get noticed in a positive way at work when you have a can-do attitude. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody can just dump their work on you or spend all their time in your office chatting it up so that you can't get anything done. So it doesn't mean being a doormat or helping everybody out at the expense of your own sanity or your workload or your healthy balance. But what it does mean is that you have a positive can-do attitude, because so many people, when it comes to the workplace and the work that they're doing, they either have a negative attitude about it or they just have a neutral attitude. And leaders in the company notice those people who have a bright, positive attitude, and those are the type of people who stand out. If you're watching this video and you have another way that you would like to share for people to stand out at work, please share that in the comments below. And if you know of someone who needs to see this video, I hope you'll share it and I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.